Just the thought that, oh my God, it could be someone from my building.
An elderly woman using a walker killed after being struck by a dump truck.
Tonight, the devastating scene that unfolded on a busy Toronto intersection. Good evening. Police say she was trying to cross the street when she was hit.
The deadly crash happening at the corner of Mount Pleasant and Davisville. CTV's Janice Golding joins us live with the details. Janice.
Joe, you just changed it. It's just what I was going to change.
Nathan, yes, the intersection here was shut down for 4.5 hours today as traffic reconstruction experts tried to investigate a tragic accident that claimed the life of an elderly woman. Pieces of a woman's walker lie just a couple feet away from an orange tarp covering her body.
It's just awful to see. I feel sad. I mean, how terrible, how tragic.
Just south of the victim rests a dump truck, blinkers flashing. The driver still on scene after striking an elderly woman in the intersection at around 10:30 a.m.
So the individual was crossing from the west side of Mount Pleasant to the east on the south side. So it sounds from the initial point of investigation she had the green light.
Police say the dump truck driver, who was also heading east, was turning south on Mount Pleasant when he struck the woman in the intersection.
It's a bit scary. It's unfortunate. The dump trucks are so high that they can't see very well. So it's unfortunate. There's so many of them, too, in the city.
The intersection was shut down for more than 4 hours while passerby in the area expressed some upset that the woman's body was still on the roadway.
Too long time, the body is still here. I can't believe it.
But it's still a long time is here.
While making a plea for witnesses, police acknowledged that what people saw today may have been
quite traumatic and quite gruesome, but we asked that anybody who might be in the area or who lives in the area to review any camera footage that they might have.
Meanwhile, many others expressed concern that this accident happened here at all.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. It happened a couple of years ago just on the other corner.
The seniors' residence is 1 block down.
Police did not say if the elderly woman lived in the area, but many pointed out that there is a seniors' residence nearby.
Just the thought that, oh my God, it could be someone from my building.
The woman's body was removed by the coroner's office before 3 p.m. and the intersection reopened to traffic. The victim has not yet been identified. Again, Toronto police are asking anyone who may have recorded dash cam or surveillance video to contact them as soon as they can. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle.
Thank you, Janice. And emergency crews are on the scene after a scooter and vehicle collided in Vaughan this afternoon. It happened at the corner of Dufferin Street and Draper Boulevard. York Regional Police say one person was taken to hospital in critical condition.
And a Mississauga man's facing dangerous driving and impaired driving charges, causing death in a fiery crash over the weekend. 2 people were killed on the QEW at Erin Mills. The area was under construction, and police say the driver didn't slow down and caused a chain reaction crash involving 4 vehicles. At least one caught fire. A 34-year-old man and a 33-year-old woman died at the scene. We turn now to the war in the Middle East, where the crisis is deepening as both sides dig in amid an unfolding humanitarian crisis.
Today, there was confirmation of a 5th Canadian killed, and the fighting continues as more than 1 million people have fled the Gaza Strip. CTV's Adrian Gabriel reports.
No sign of a ceasefire to let aid reach the Gaza Strip today. Relentless airstrikes and rocket attacks continued across the Israeli-Gaza border. The Israeli military announced Hamas militants captured 199 hostages during its cross-border attack, several more than previously thought. And a 5th Canadian was confirmed dead. 21-year-old Netta Epstein was killed in a kibbutz. His mother says he jumped on a grenade to save his fiancée.
So he said grenade, and he jumped over, and then he was shot by a shotgun.
He loved her so much that he gave his own life.
Yeah.
Sound like your son?
Sound like my son.
The hostages are a top national priority, said Israel, in its bid to destroy Hamas. But the UN has urged Israel to abide by the rules of war, to avoid crippling hits on hospitals, collapsing under the blockade, with water and electricity running out.
These are civilian infrastructures, and they also are protected by international humanitarian law from attack.
Hundreds of thousands of Gazans have heeded Israel's warning and fled their homes for the south. But many are now trapped, including Canadians, and holed up at the closed Rafah border crossing with Egypt.
And they are supposed to be a developed country talking about the human rights all the time. I don't think this makes any sense.
Ottawa announced a group of 21 Canadians had left the West Bank via a bus trip to Jordan today. But the government also urged citizens now in Lebanon to consider leaving that country while commercial flights are still available. There are fears of a second front in this war, as Hezbollah announced it hit targets in the northern region, where Israel has now built up a massive military presence.
Israel has ordered the evacuation of 28 villages near the border with Lebanon, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has warned Hezbollah not to test his military, though all focus remains on a looming ground assault into Gaza that many fear would bring heavy casualties on both sides. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Tel Aviv.
And CTV's Heather Wright is also in Israel tonight. She joins us live from Tel Aviv. Heather, with Israel's anticipated imminent ground invasion, what's the latest on efforts to get Canadians out and track down the missing?
Well, it was another day of dashed dreams, really, Michelle, in that the Rafah border crossing did not open as was hoped. We had been told yesterday, announced by Palestinian officials, that there was going to be a window where that border crossing at the south with Egypt was going to open to allow foreigners, including a number of Canadian and permanent residents, to leave and to have aid, much needed aid, come in. And so that fell apart again today. It remains to be seen when it might open, but that's really top of mind for the diplomats in the region, whereas getting people from the north to the south is top of mind for Israel. They have continued to urge people to leave the north, to go south. They've actually even turned water down in the south, where it's been cut off completely in the north. So there is an effort to get people out of the north before this ground invasion begins. But in the meantime, there has been relentless shelling from Israel and from Hamas into Israel. And troops are getting ready on the border. They're going through drills. They're getting ready to go in to try to root out Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
Now, Heather, you were near the Lebanese border today. What did you observe there?
Well, you can see just a massive flow of troops, of armored vehicles, of supplies heading to different locations along the Lebanese border. There is a very real threat from Hezbollah, which controls southern Lebanon, that they might get involved in this conflict. They have been exchanging fire with Israeli troops along the border for some days now, and so there is a big mobilization up there as well. We were actually in a hospital in Haifa, which is a little bit south of the border with Lebanon, and they've activated an underground hospital in a parking garage. So this is a completely fortified hospital where they can treat 2,000 patients. So that sort of gives you an insight into the level of, situational awareness, really, that something might happen. They're, of course, hoping that this is a precaution, that they won't have to use that hospital. But if rockets start being fired from southern Lebanon by Hezbollah, they have this as an option. And so tensions are really high in the north and in the south, and there are growing fears that this might spill into a larger regional conflict, which, of course, is what many are working behind the scenes to try to avoid.
CTV's Heather Wright live for us tonight in Tel Aviv. Thank you. And the Israel-Hamas war entered the debate at Queen's Park today.
Controversial comments from an NDP MPP coming under fire as the Ford government continues to answer questions about the Greenbelt scandal. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us with the details.
Well, Nathan, the government's trying to shut down Sarah Jama's ability to speak in the legislature. The NDP calls it an attempt to distract from a government under RCMP investigation.
An act to amend the Greenbelt Act.
The government is making good on a promise to put lands pulled out of the Greenbelt last year back and guard against a repeat.
By making sure that any future boundary changes can only be made through an open, public and transparent legislative process.
The legislation shields the government from ticked-off developers from coming after them. Future Greenbelt reviews and applications for change will be handled by outside experts in water and farmland.
We will submit the proposed makeup to the Auditor General and the Environmental Commissioner to ensure that the process is a supportable process.
Opposition parties feel there's enough in this bill to get behind.
Our bigger problem is we've got a government that believes that they can give wealthy, well-connected insiders the inside track.
Calandra hopes this marks the end of the Greenbelt scandal.
I'd be lying to you if I said no.
But the land removal is now the subject of a criminal investigation.
How can the Premier maintain the confidence of the people when he and his government is being investigated by the RCMP for corruption?
The housing minister used the moment to attack the NDP leader for not removing an MPP who shared a pro-Palestinian social media post last week.
To stand up to the anti-Semitic hard left of her party, the first test of leadership that she had, and what did she choose to do? Nothing.
I'm telling you.
Stiles calls it a sign of desperation.
Exploit the deaths of people across an ocean just to make a political point?
The government wants to punish Sarah Jama, make it so she can't speak in the House unless she apologizes there.
She has not only apologized, she has said she unequivocally condemns the violence, the terrorist attack by Hamas.
Though her post remains up.
When it comes to the Greenbelt investigation, Minister Calandra says no one from his office has been approached yet for an interview. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan, back to you.
All right, thank you, Siobhan. And our coverage continues online. You can read more about the legislation tabled today and the investigation into the government's handling of the Greenbelt on our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
We know it's coming. All that snow is just around the corner, but today it is the calm before the snow. The City of Toronto giving an update on its winter readiness plan. They promise new technology and new tools to do an even better job clearing roads, sidewalks, and bikeways.
The climate change, we know that the extreme winter weather is becoming more common. This is challenging for everyone, but we have learned a great deal from past storms, and we are prepared for whatever this winter will bring.
More than 1,000 de-icers, salters, and plows are ready to go. But perhaps just as concerning are water main breaks. The city averages roughly 700 breaks per year and spends roughly $188 million on repairs and upgrades. So prevention is the key.
This is a huge task in a large city and in a busy city that will be completed by a fleet of more than 1,400 pieces of snow equipment.
Officials want to remind you that every storm is different and may take many rounds to clear. Their message, be patient. And as always, when the snow gets here, please remember to do your part to help clear it and keep our roads safe.
While some city officials were talking about the snow, others were getting ready for patio season. Still to come, the changes being made to help more businesses open outdoor dining next summer.
Certainly not patio weather right now. Let's take a live look outside. There were a few sunny spots, but mostly a cloudy day to start our work week. We're losing sunlight fast. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions. At least it's not too cold.
It's not too cold, Michelle. It's not patio weather, but we're not talking snow yet either. That sunset time tonight going to be shortly after 6:30. So yes, we are losing daylight here, and we have had a cloudy day. We're starting to get some clearing in through Muskoka, but it remains overcast around the GTA. We've also had strong winds, and they've been coming from a northerly direction, sustained around 30 kilometers per hour. Around noon today, we were experiencing gusts of around 50K. As a result, the temperature really didn't climb above seasonal. In fact, we were slightly below much of the afternoon. It's 10 degrees right now, but only 8 in Aurora and 9 in Innisfil. Overnight tonight, we're dropping to a low of 7 degrees, which is on the warm side of seasonal. But once again, it's going to be cloudy, and we're going to watch for some fog patches, especially as we move past midnight. Now we are in for a little bit of a midweek warm-up. We'll talk about that and the rest of your 7-day forecast coming up. For now, Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. So not exactly ideal weather for dining outside, but today the city was talking about patio season.
Improvements have been made to the Cafe TO program. Created during the pandemic to keep businesses afloat, it quickly became permanent. CTV's Allison Hurst is live from the Danforth with the changes announced today. Allison.
Patio season officially came to an end this weekend, but this morning the mayor, city councilors, and industry officials were all out laying out next year's plan. On the Danforth, the Palmarosa's Cafe TO patio is already gone except for a couple of tables, after finally being set up just before August.
Half of summer was gone, and they took it like last week.
Brewing frustration for Luis Hernandez after a lengthy application process.
Applying wasn't easy. It wasn't complicated to do the paperwork, but it was too slow. They took like maybe 2 months just to get the permit.
For that, the city's mayor issued an apology.
I own everyone that have applied the CAFETO program an apology. It was a bit messy. It's on behalf of the city. Sorry about that.
Coupled with a promise to do better next year.
We're going to make sure patio are ready and open at the latest for the Victoria Day weekend.
Olivia Chow says restaurants that already have everything set up will get their approval by the end of November. New applications will open in mid-January, and they will approve 90% of new applicants by mid-April.
There is no question that the hospitality sector has been very, very challenged, and the CAFETO installation allows people not only to maintain jobs, but in some cases take on more positions.
City officials say it's also crucial for the city's economy. In 2022, it brought in more than $200 million.
Many of these businesses are planning for their next year right now. They're budgeting for this stuff.
Hernandez says despite this year's frustration, he's going to apply for next year.
I think it's going to be better because they did it last year, and we have a new, government, and we'll see what happens with new people in charge.
And hopes it'll be set up in time to enjoy the entire summer. Many of these patios are slowly coming down now as it is the end of this season, but the mayor vows that they will be installed and ready to go by at the latest the long weekend in May. Reporting live, I'm Allison Hurst. Nathan, back to you.
All right, thank you, Allison. A West End neighborhood is searching for answers after a woman was stabbed and killed last night.
This world is going crazy, lady. I've seen things I never seen before, and I don't like it.
Police were called about a man with a knife in the Davenport and Uxbridge area just before 10:30 last night. A female victim was found dead a few blocks north near Old Weston and Rogers Road. Police have a man in custody, but no other information about the suspect has been released.
A fifth complainant took the stand today at the sex assault trial of former fashion mogul Peter Nygaard.
We want to warn you the details in her testimony are disturbing. The woman sharing details of an attack more than 30 years ago. CTV's John Musselman reports.
The fifth complainant broke down in tears on the witness stand today when she recalled what she says happened inside Peter Nygaard's downtown complex. She is 56 years old now. She was 21 years old when the alleged assault took place in the bedroom retreat Nygaard built in his fashion headquarters on Niagara Street. He lunged at me and he swiftly forced me down on the bed. I was saying no, and I kept repeating the word no. I kept repeating the word no about 50 times. My words were invisible to Mr. Nygaard. He did not react to my words at all. She testified she met Nygaard briefly at a nightclub in Hall-Quebec in 1988. She was interested in fashion, and he told her he could help her out. Nygaard later reached her in Los Angeles after calling her parents' home in Ottawa and speaking with her mother. The complainant was on a work assignment at the time for a Canadian children's television show. Nygaard invited her to Toronto and paid for the flight. But she testified Nygaard was not interested in discussing the fashion business when she arrived at his Toronto complex. She told the jury she felt like a prisoner inside the room and there was no escape when Nygaard attacked her. Quote, I was in shock. I couldn't keep up with what was happening. My body started to feel this sense of paralysis, but my head was still alert. He started to say, your mother would be ashamed of you. Why aren't you cooperating? All the other girls let me do this. I was devastated when he said this. Nygaard has pleaded not guilty to 5 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of forcible confinement. He is now 82 years old. Testimony will continue tomorrow. John Musselman, CTV News.
The man charged with killing members of a Muslim family in London testified today. He considered attacking members of the community in Toronto. Nathaniel Veltman drove here in June 2021, feeling an urge to carry out an attack. But he says he panicked and returned to London. The trip to Toronto came one day before 4 members of the Afzal family were struck by a pickup truck. Prosecutors have alleged his actions amount to an act of terrorism. To a disturbing story south of the border, a 6-year-old boy, the victim of a hate crime.
He was stabbed and killed, targeted, police say, because of his Muslim faith and in response to the Israel-Hamas war. Today, the accused was in court. CTV's Rahim Ladani joins us live with the details. Rahim.
Michelle, a preliminary hearing for the accused has been set for the end of the month. This incident in the U.S. and others in Canada, which have occurred since the Israel-Hamas war began, have put authorities and communities on high alert about the looming risk of hate crimes. An Illinois court judge has denied bail for Joseph Shuba. The 71-year-old has been charged with the killing of 6-year-old Wadea Al-Fayoum and the attempted murder of his mother after stabbing her dozens of times. The Council on American Islamic Relations says the victims were Palestinian American.
To those who beat their chests and who think that now there is a green light to target Palestinian civilians in their homes, destroy their hospitals, kill women and children, that you are justifying the logic of Hamas.
Police say the suspect was the landlord and targeted the victims because of their Muslim faith and as a response to the Israel-Hamas war. The Justice Department has also opened a hate crime investigation into the events leading up to the attack.
We are not animals, we are humans. We want people to see us as humans, to feel us as humans, to deal with us as humans, because this is what we are.
The war in the Middle East has fueled feelings of unrest by both Palestinian and Jewish communities worldwide.
Jewish people are wondering if they shouldn't wear their Star of David or kippah in public. Muslim and Arab people are worried about being thought of as terrorists once again.
In Ottawa, the federal government has appointed a special envoy on preserving Holocaust remembrance and combating anti-Semitism.
It is our role as Canadians to stand now with our Canadian Jewish family all across our country.
Safety concerns surrounding hate crimes have also heightened. In Toronto, 3 people were arrested last week after allegedly approaching students walking in the area of Tannenbaum Community Hebrew Academy and making threats. And on the Danforth, a man has been arrested after allegedly vandalizing a mosque with hateful messages and symbols multiple times. Police have now increased their presence at Jewish and Palestinian gathering places across the city. Toronto Police Chief Myron Demkew says people can expect to see a continued increased police presence at places like cultural centers, synagogues and mosques for the foreseeable future. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Rahim. And CTV News has spoken to a Canadian man living in Gaza. Mansour Shuman is staying in the north in the territory's second largest city, Khan Yunis.
My family had to move several times over the last few days. The last time I was with my family 72 hours ago at night, we got a call that get out of your apartment. They're going to bomb the building 100 meters close to you. So it's pretty unpredictable.
Shuman's wife and 5 children are staying with immediate family in the southern part of Gaza. They moved back a year and a half ago because of a family emergency and decided to stay and make a life there.
The Prime Minister spoke about the war in Parliament today for the first time since it began.
Canada is calling for unimpeded humanitarian access and a humanitarian corridor so that essential aid like food, fuel, and water can be delivered to civilians in Gaza. It is imperative that this happen.
Justin Trudeau called on Hamas to immediately release the people being held hostage in Gaza. He says that may include at least 3 missing Canadians. Canada has listed Hamas as a terrorist group. Trudeau says about 1,300 passengers have left Israel aboard flights arranged by the Canadian Armed Forces.
The United States is beefing up its military presence in the Middle East. The Pentagon is sending the Dwight Eisenhower Harrier strike group to the eastern Mediterranean. It should arrive in just over a week. The U.S. already has 1 aircraft carrier strike group in the area. A number of American fighter jets also took off from England today for an undisclosed location in Southwest Asia. And Chinese fighter jets intercepted a Canadian military plane over international waters today. Ottawa calls the incident off the coast of China unacceptable, dangerous, and reckless, and insists that will be expressed to the government in Beijing.
I'm Sean Leathong at Scotiabank Arena, where the Toronto Maple Leafs' Austin Matthews, in only his third game of the season, has an opportunity to set a goal-scoring record. We'll have more and who is going to be on the ice coming up after the break.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, many people are trying to save money shopping, and now there's a new way to search for bargains. There's a chain of stores called Crazy Bins, where it's like a treasure hunt every day. We check it out. All of that story just ahead.
We are now halfway through October, which means it's time for our mid-month review. And who could forget that hot start that we had? 30 degrees on October 3rd. And you likely don't need me to tell you that it's been a little unsettled. Certainly more rain than we had in all of September so far. And we are in for a little bit of a warm-up this week. We're talking temperatures in the upper teens, but it's not going to last. We're cooler again by the weekend. Your 7-day forecast is coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
There's a new way to shop that has some bargain hunters flocking to a store that promises it's like a real-life treasure hunt.
It's a chain that specializes in online returns and overstock items. And if you're lucky, you might find a great deal. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Nathan and Michelle, the store is called Crazy Bins, and there are now 18 locations across Canada, including 10 in Ontario. All items start off selling at $25, and as the week goes on, the price drops until there's nothing left. At this Crazy Bins location in Mississauga, bargain hunters are searching through more than 50 bins full of merchandise, hoping to find a deal. Most of the products in these bins are returns from online shopping websites, goods that may be out of season, and overstock items.
We get brand name items. We've gotten Apple AirPods, we've gotten MacBook Pros, digital cameras, $1,000 camera lenses, gaming chairs, furniture.
Store manager Jesse Vogt says the most sought-after products are usually electronics because the highest price in the store, no matter what the item is $25.
We have a stick vacuum, a massage gun, and we have a Bronze Series 6 for $25. You are not finding that anywhere.
At this store on Friday, everything is priced at $25. On Saturday and Sunday, the price drops to $10. And then Monday, $5, Tuesday, $3, and Wednesday and Thursday, $1 per item.
On Thursday night, we close at 4 o'clock, and then we restock everything for be fresh for Friday morning.
Many people who shop here say it's like a treasure hunt. You never know what you're going to find.
Oh, I come here every once in a while to see what they got on special. They got some good deals.
I got a $299 vacuum cleaner, cordless vacuum cleaner from here, $25.
If you need it, you should buy it because you won't get it any cheaper.
The best deals go fast, and there are lineups when new stock is brought in. While many people are shopping for themselves, others are buying goods they hope to resell to make a profit. Customers are limited to one expensive item to keep it fair for other shoppers, so you couldn't buy 2 PlayStations. Crazy Bins has been growing fast with 18 stores and may open more locations in the future. And some online retailers aren't equipped to take back returns, so in the past, some goods were sent to landfill sites. This process could give products another chance to be purchased and allow shoppers a chance to find a deal. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Right. Pretty good start to the work week. I'll call this a typical fall day. I think we're used to it now.
I think we're used to it, but I think this week does have some surprises, just like in those bins. There's a really good day coming midweek.
Yes. I like the sounds of the midweek day, Wednesday specifically, because I think it has a little bit of both. It has a bit of a warm-up. It has brighter skies. We're going to remain warm through the rest of the work and school week, but we're going to trade that beautiful blue sky with a few showers. And then as we head into the weekend, it'll be back into the sweaters and cozy, comfy blankets as the temperature cools once again. Weather is brought to you by Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train. Today was one of those classic cloudy fall days. Not much to show you precipitation-wise here on the satellite and radar. We did have a few lake effect showers impacting areas areas like Sarnia and Prince Edward County. Those have moved out. Now, we are starting to see clearing the further north you are in the province of Ontario, and right now that includes communities to the east of Georgian Bay, but the cloud likely sticking around for us here in the lower Great Lakes, partly thanks to that low that continues to soak the maritime provinces. High pressure trying to work its way in. It will be somewhat successful on Wednesday. We will still have some cloud in the mix, but we are going to see a little more sun by the time we get there. Tomorrow, not a whole lot of sun. I'm hopeful that we'll at least get some sunny breaks, but once again, it looks like it's going to be a dry day. There's Wednesday morning, so waking up, expecting some clearing, and then in the afternoon, a mix of sun and cloud. Possible that some areas could get a couple of lake effect showers thanks to winds now coming out of the southwest. So that southwest wind is going to help warm us up a little bit. But here's what's waiting in the wings. So still mild into Thursday and Friday, but we can expect a little bit of wet weather at that point. Temperature-wise today, we were technically seasonal when it came to our daytime high. We made it to 13 degrees, but it's 10 right now and it feels like it because the winds are coming out of the north. Warmest spot in the province today was in Prince Edward County, and that was about 15 degrees. Overnight tonight, we're dropping to a low near 7. It'll be cooler the further north you go. 9 in Niagara Falls and 7 in Hamilton as well. Just want to mention the potential for a little bit of fog, especially as we move past midnight, and some of that could linger into tomorrow morning. It is a mostly cloudy day for tomorrow with a high of 15 degrees. Here's what we're looking forward to. Mainly sunny skies for a good portion of the day on Wednesday and a high of 17 degrees. Might still be that mild for Thursday and Friday, but again, we're going to cool down in time for next weekend. That's your look at the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. Going for a three-peat. Can Austin Matthews make history tonight at Scotiabank Arena?
The Leafs are taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Matthews has already scored 2 hat tricks to open the season, and fans are crossing their fingers they may see another tonight. CTV's Sean Leithong is live at Scotiabank Arena with the details. A trio of hat tricks sounds fabulous.
It would, Michelle, and tonight is really about the present and the future. You have Austin Matthews, who potentially could get his 3rd hat trick in a row, but I mean, that's very hard to do. And what everyone thought was going to be the story tonight is the first game Connor Bedard will play in Toronto as an NHL player. But Bedard, right now, has to take second fiddle to Matthews' possible record-breaking night.
Just 2 games into the season, and Leaf star Austin Matthews has already had 2 hat tricks.
And looking for a 3rd tonight.
3-peat tonight. 4-peat next game. Let's go, Matthews.
For context, the only other player in the last 100 years to start the season with consecutive hat tricks is Alexander Ovechkin. And there's a buzz outside Scotiabank Arena before tonight's game against Chicago.
I'll be cheering for you in the stands, Matthews. Let's go, Leafs.
I think most people say things happen in threes, but tonight it's not going to happen. Sorry.
He's a great goal scorer. Those 2 hat tricks he scored back-to-back, huge for the team, huge for the fans. And, you know, if he gets another one tonight, I won't be upset.
But fans inside Maple Leaf Square are a mix of blue and red, as there is more than just Austin Matthews' potential record breaker to draw this crowd.
I'm here for Connor Bedard.
First overall draft pick Connor Bedard is here for his first NHL game in Toronto.
A lot of people are expecting him to kind of turn Chicago's franchise around. He's a big-time player.
18-year-old Bedard is widely regarded as the best player to come into the league, perhaps since Austin Matthews back in 2016. Bedard hasn't had the same start as Matthews, but he has managed to collect a goal and 2 assists in 3 games. So many fans like Johnny and Ali will put their friendship on pause for tonight.
We're not buddies tonight, though, that's for sure.
Buddies or not, fans have an opportunity to see something unique.
So just to give you some context about Austin Matthews' hot start, he's currently on pace for 246 goals this season if he keeps this up. That would break the single-season record by over 150 goals. It's currently held by Wayne Gretzky at 92, and he would do it before Christmas. So you got to think he's probably going to slow down. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leithong.
Barnes, a touch pass, Boucher with a slam.
The Toronto Raptors took on a team from down under as part of the preseason schedule yesterday. They squared off with the visiting Cairns Taipans at Scotiabank Arena. They beat the Australian squad 134-93 in this exhibition game. The team will be back on the court tomorrow to take on the Chicago Bulls.
Also tonight, she helped redefine what it means to be blonde. from TV icon to entrepreneur, remembering the life and legacy of Suzanne Summers.
Loving the uncommon is a wonderful thing we have in common.
What do Ontario dairy farmers bring to the table? A million little things. From 5 a.m. wake-up calls to living the words, never put off till tomorrow what you can get done today. Bringing together what our parents taught us and what our kids can. Passion, caring, learning and growing year after year. The knowledge that if we set the table every day, take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves. That's how you milk.
Listen up, let me tell you a story. 6 is the Tony-winning global sensation that's got Toronto critics cheering. A new block of tickets is now on sale. Don't miss 6 at the Royal Alexandra Theatre in Toronto. Book at mervish.com.
Don't miss the $1.2 million bonus prize in the Princess Margaret Home Lottery. Imagine winning a stunning Toronto condo with breathtaking views of Lake Ontario. Plus, you get $50,000 cash. Built by Menkes, this is where dreams and reality merge in the sweetest way possible. Over 20,000 prizes valued at $19 million. Homes, cottages, vacations, and more. Don't wait. The bonus deadline is next week. Tickets at princessmargaretlotto.com.
To support sustainable food production, BHP is building one of the world's most sustainable potash mines in Canada. Essential resources responsibly produced. It's happening now at BHP, a future resources company.
Let's play Snake Oil. A new game show based on a classic scam. Snake Oil, hosted by David Spade. Wednesday at 7:10 Mountain on CTV.
Family doctors in Canada now have guidance to help screen and diagnose high-risk drinking and alcohol use disorder. The guidelines warn against prescribing antidepressants and other medications, such as antipsychotics, without ruling out alcohol use disorder. They say the drugs can induce cravings. The guidelines offer 15 recommendations on early detection of excessive alcohol consumption, as well as diagnosis and treatment. The information was published in the Canadian Medical Association Journal.
There are some startling numbers in a new survey about child hunger in Canada. 37% of parents said their kids are not getting the proper nutrients they need each day. And 21% of respondents say their children have gone to bed hungry in the last month. The Ipsos World Vision International study also found 91% are concerned about child hunger and malnutrition globally. The results of the survey were released today on World Food Day.
Madonna's kicked off her new world tour. The celebration tour began over the weekend in London. The singer battled a bacterial infection in June, leading to the first leg of the tour in North America to be postponed. Madonna is set to perform at Scotiabank Arena on January 11th and 12th.
Following in his father's footsteps, Drake's son has released his own song.
Don't talk to my man like that. I like it when you like it. My man.
My Man Freestyle debuted just a few days after Adonis Graham turned 6 years old. He raps about playing on his iPad, shooting hoops, and hanging out with his dad. The song extends an appearance Adonis made at the end of Daylight, a track from Drake's latest album.
Meanwhile, Dolly Parton is taking to the gridiron to help kick off the holiday giving season. The country music legend will perform during halftime at an NFL game on Thanksgiving. Her appearance at the Dallas Cowboys-Washington Commanders game will help jumpstart the Salvation Army's Red Kettle fundraising campaign.
Stars Tonight is brought to you by Lastman's Bad Boy. Who's better? Nobody.
On the next CP24 breakfast, it's a who's who of Canadian country music.
Doc Walker, Jason McCoy, and Michelle Wright band together for the Great Canadian Road Trip.
A CP24 breakfast up first at 5:30.
It's a bit scary. It's unfortunate. The dump trucks are so high that they can't see very well.
Updating our top stories, Toronto police are investigating after an elderly woman was struck and killed by a dump truck this morning. It happened near Mount Pleasant Road and Davisville Avenue around 10:30. Police say the woman was using a walker to cross the street when she was hit. The driver remained on the scene.
So he said grenade, and he jumped over, and then he was shot by a shotgun.
As the Israel-Hamas war rages on, there's no sign of a ceasefire on the Gaza Strip, and rocket attacks continue along the border. Meantime, a fifth Canadian was confirmed killed in Israel. 21-year-old Neda Epstein died in kibbutz. His mom saying he jumped on a grenade to save his fiancée. Canada is still working to get thousands of Canadians out of both Gaza and Israel.
By making sure that any future boundary changes can only be made through an open, public, and transparent legislative process.
The Ontario government is making good on that promise to put land pulled out of the Greenbelt last year back and guard the land from being removed again. The tabled bill also shielding the government from developers possibly coming after them. Remember to keep up to date day and night through our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
On the markets, the Canadian dollar traded up 25 points to settle at 73.46 U.S. American benchmark oil slid $1.09 to 85.26 a barrel, and the TSX Composite Index gained 157 points to 19,620.80.
The province is giving more than $424 million to a Belgian company to help build a plant northwest of Kingston. The facility will produce components for EV batteries. It's the first of its kind in North America and is expected to initially employ 600 people. The federal government is providing nearly $500 million toward construction of the plant in Loyalist Township.
It was the ultimate case of typecasting. Suzanne Summers was the blonde butt of jokes she rarely got.
But what she did have is an eye for business, and in passing, she is being remembered for a long, groundbreaking, and varied career. Andrea Case joins us now with more on her story. Andrea.
Michelle and Nathan, good evening. Today, cast members from shows like Friends and The Big Bang Theory are famous for banding together and negotiating equal contracts. But that wasn't the case in the 1970s, and Suzanne Summers paid the price. In 1977, California girl Suzanne Summers was a 31-year-old single mother of one. When she was cast as the ditzy single roommate Chrissy Snow in the sitcom Three's Company. But 5 years in, earning $30,000 per episode, she asked for equal pay of John Ritter, her male co-star. He was paid $150,000 per episode.
I'm not stupid. I just played one on TV. I'm seeing that the men are being paid 4, 5, 10 times more. My career was dead because the public got mad at me for being greedy.
She failed to show up for 2 episodes and was fired by ABC. Looking back, she says she could have handled it differently.
That much fame that fast, literally overnight. I think if I look back, I should have been more sensitive.
Banished from the airwaves, she pivoted. A Las Vegas stint earned her Female Entertainer of the Year, and a TV special earned her an Emmy nomination. Then, along with her inseparable husband, Canadian entertainer and producer Alan Hamill, they became entrepreneurs.
Great legs.
Thank you.
The product, a simple gadget demonstrated by the actress. It sold 15 million units, with $300 million in sales.
Then I found Thigh Master.
Next came the sitcom Step by Step. It lasted 6 seasons.
If you believe in yourself and you focus and you're willing to work like a dog, you can make your dreams come true.
Diagnosed as dyslexic, it's her career as an author which brought her the most success. 25 books over 22 years, tackling subjects like diet, relationships, and health. Her first skin cancer diagnosis came in the early 1970s, but the breast cancer, which would eventually take her life, was discovered during a routine mammogram in 2000. Her publicist announced the breast cancer returned in July. When asked how she'd like to be remembered,
That I made a difference, that I affected people's lives positively.
One day shy of her 77th birthday, Suzanne Summers died peacefully in her sleep with her family by her side. Of course, not everybody always agreed with the things that she said when it came to health and wellness, but they are remembering her fondly today. A private burial will take place this week, and a memorial will be held next month. For CTV News, I'm Andrea Case. Michelle, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Andrea. And Oscar-nominated actress Piper Laurie has died. Her manager says Laurie died Saturday in Los Angeles. She was best known for her role as the overbearingly religious mother in the film Carrie and for playing Paul Newman's girlfriend in the movie The Hustler. She received Oscar nominations for both films. Laurie was 91 years old.
The IOC gave the official thumbs up today to adding 5 sports to the 2028 Games in Los Angeles. Cricket will return to the world's biggest sporting stage after more than a century. So will lacrosse, which twice appeared as a medal sport at the Games in 1904 and 1908. Baseball and softball have been featured in several previous Olympics, but will not be a part of next summer's Paris Games. Flag football was last featured as a demonstration sport at the 1932 Olympics in LA. Squash has also been given Olympic status for 2028 and what is seen as a breakthrough for the sport. Each host city can request the inclusion of several sports for their edition of the Games.
Yes, you heard it here.
And just ahead, diving into the record books, Ripley's Aquarium of Canada celebrates its 10th birthday with an incredible underwater feat. Hold your breath. We'll be right back.
Tonight, from parking garage to underground hospital.
We have to treat patients under all scenarios.
Inside the unique medical facility beneath the northern Israeli city of Haifa. That story and more later on CTV National News.
And a reminder, the CTV News at 6 podcast is available as a download every weeknight. And a special hello to those of you listening to the newscast live on News Talk 1010. Ripley's Aquarium of Canada turned 10 years old today.
And in celebration of a decade of existence, the popular Toronto attraction went ahead and set a new Guinness World Record for the longest underwater live stream.
At a time of 5 hours, 44 minutes, 30 seconds, it's a new Guinness World Records title.
Yeah. Yes, you heard it here. Thank you for the official word, Michael. It's an absolute honor.
Starting at 10 this morning, those divers took hour-long shifts talking continuously about underwater content. They blew the old record of 5 hours and 25 minutes out of the water, passing the time with underwater activities like pumpkin carving and virtual chats with GTA schools.
Does the coral reef you guys have at Ripley's do the same thing as the
Here is actually artificial.
We had a great impact on Toronto. We're the #1 indoor attraction in Canada, the second most visited aquarium in North America. So it's been wonderful.
The general manager there says today's Guinness World Record was inspired by founder Robert Ripley himself, who back in 1940 completed the first underwater live radio broadcast in a shark tank. And now with technology, you can have a live stream. What a cool thing they did.
Yeah, pretty incredible for, 5.5 hours? That's a lot of talking, more than us.
That's a lot of talking. Yeah, we only have to do an hour at a time. But why don't you send us home with our weather forecast? What do we have coming? 20 seconds.
Oh, well, look how dark it is outside, first of all. We know that the days are getting shorter. We have some cloud out there, so that's not helping matters. There's one more look at the satellite and radar. Tomorrow's high is expected to be about 15 degrees, and there's the 7-day. Keep the umbrella handy Thursday, Friday. Nathan and Michelle.
Right on time. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, that's it for us. Be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching and have a great night.